levels. So straightforward mainly is not running on the computer.
Yeah, very straightforward.
Alright, so let me just go over a little bit at the beginning. So this is Unity, open scene. And so Simon's going to take over in a minute, but let's at least start with we call it tree start. So the game, I won't get into the plot of the game. So the story begins something like, once upon a time there was a tree, and then there was a mirror, and then there was you. And so Simon's made this void thing. Let's see how the void thing works. Alright, Simon, I don't see it. Oh, is it gonna, do I have to look up because it's gonna fall?
No, just restart and then just look and just keep looking to the left.
Keep what?
Restart and just keep looking to the left.
Okay. I'm arrow keying to the left.
No, look as in manually rotate the camera to the left.
Hey, you should come take a look at this. Anyway, let's go to the next scene then. Unless you want to.
The one that's finished.
What? Yeah, let's go to the bar. Okay, so Simon will do that one, and he'll go over how he did the void. This one's not developed. The bar scene is what we're going to talk about, but I just want you guys to see this one. So these are the assets. So I make the assets, and Simon does all the interactions. So these mirrors are going to, there's never going to be three mirrors. You go to the world, and it's the blank mirror, and then you click on something, and you look like that, and then you click on the fruit that is here.
You made that tree in Maya?
Yeah, oh, I sort of had. This is one of my, I've been working on this game for years, and this is one of my oldest assets. So this was a spiral, like, thing I found on Pinterest, and then did weird stuff. And then somewhere something went wrong in Tinkercad, and it created this error, and I love it. I'm so excited that it did that. Like, I couldn't make that texture if I tried. But that's the fruit that you click on, and it's affectionately referred to as the eggplant. But anyway, so as you click on these fruits, these signs appear. And even I'm having some problems with the fonts. But these different kind of signs. Do you want this? Do you want more? And then every time you drink something or you have this fruit, you're changing. So you go from nothing to a stick figure to, once you do the second fruit, then you look like this. Now, so one thing about this game, so there's this first level, and the dream is that just to do this first level is a point and click. The second time we do this level, it's when I add animation. So I learn more about animation, learn more about Maya, and then I'll rig that figure. So this figure that you see is the basis for the whole game. That's the avatar. And so at some point, like even when we had the Vive version, we actually had the reflection working. But now I'm like, screw it, I'm not going to rig this character, we're not going to do it, so you're going to click, and it's just going to suddenly be this. But in the next version, it would be a rigged figure, and you look like that. Yeah? What do you think? And then see this little rug down here? That's the teleporting rug. When you step on the rug, and then I'm not really that thrilled with the asset. It looks nice when you look at it straight down, but... So see, it's pretty close up, but it doesn't. But then when you back up, it has that weird cloudy blue look that I don't like. So I don't know, stuff like that. I'm learning. As I say, the point of demoing this is not that I've got a handle on this and I'm great. It's that I'm 2 weeks ahead of everybody else. All right. Anyway, so that's the intro of the game, and then you go to a cabin, and then one of the options you have. In fact, let me just go to the cabin real quick. Scene. Okay. So everything in Potion looks like a bottle. Like everything's soft, everything's around. This is an asset I imported and it's huge, so I just moved it to the side. That's a character. It's not a giant statue. And let's go in. So that's the cabin. So I do a lot of cinematic things. So there'll be like a cutscene with the establishing shot, and then you're in. So I do a lot of establishing shots, and then you're just in. So this is all the placeholder stuff, and it's not as developed as the bar and lounge. But you go to this place, you're in this cabin, and there's 4 different figures with different costumes on. So this is like the naked figure, that's not going to be there. So when you look at your options, you're going to have these characters wearing these costumes. So this one, you don't know what it is. The name I have for it is the Thief. This is the Path of the Thief. And then this is the Path of the Alchemist, and that's the book on the table. And when I was learning how to model, like those books, like getting a JPEG, like you're talking about texturing, God, getting a JPEG to work and be on a surface was hard. What?
You do something like this with the point and click, like there's an adventure in it?
Yeah, so you'll be in this cabin and you can look around and you can see these different books, and then let me just go through. And this one is the garden.
Yeah, they added that in the fourth one. They call it FPS style, they call it. Is that what you mean? When you move freely?
Yeah, where you can just move wherever you want rather than having to
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's
It's
also
going to be the VR version because VR is VR.
Yeah.
well when you're looking in Vive, like there's a lot of problems with virtual reality and nausea. So the Vive version, when we're talking about when we're talking about a PC game versus a Vive game, when you do a PC, you can walk around, you can use your arrow keys, you can click around. With the Vive, you really don't want people walking around. They'll get sick quickly. So with the Vive game version of this is all teleporting, and that's the big convention with Vive, is that you have this thing that kind of looks like a fire hose or whatever, and where it lands is where you go. So that's the teleporting mechanism. This is the 4th and final book, and this is the snake, and that's Charm, and that's ultimately the costume of that character is this giant thing that looks like a giant statue, but it's a character. By very, very rudimentary modeling skills, so like this model was very challenging for me to do with the level of skills that I have, but it's what I got. So anyway, and then that character ultimately in later levels becomes a bottle itself. So when you look at different potions, at some point the head comes off and you can just tilt it out and you'll get a drink recipe that way. Anyway, let's go to the bar. So anyway, so if you choose this character, the character called Charm, that character goes to the bar. And the bar looks like this. And then I'll show a little bit, and then Simon will take over and talk about the code, because this actually on some level works a little bit.
It works a lot actually. Everything except the panel, which is in the middle, which is oh, you can move out the way, by the way.
Yeah.
You can move the panel out the way.
So that carpet is where you teleport from?
Yeah, well, no, that actually, so do you want me to move the tile?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can tell the way the script is supposed to automatically realign it, but Unity's parenting system is weird, so it's going into the position stuff.
Let me do the story a little bit, and then we'll talk about this tile. So let me talk about models first. Okay, hold on. Okay, so 3D modeling is really challenging, and I wanted to make, like I said, every building in Potion looks like a bottle. Like it's all potion bottles. Everything's corks, everything's lids. That's the theme of the game. So I wanted to I love tufted surfaces, like when you're at a restaurant and there's a red leather tufted surface. I love those things. So I wanted to make a tufted surface, and I think I spent I think it was a full Saturday that I spent trying to make this shape be the shape that it is, because it had to be a diamond that puffs out and fits against the side of a weird shape like a bottle. So it had to be a bottle shape on one side, a triangle, and then a diamond, and then it had to puff out. And boy, was that tough. The obvious thing you want to do normally is do a textured bitmap, right, with your texturing stuff. So when we do another room that's red and the tiles aren't a part of the plot, I would just do like a big JPEG with those tufted things, and you wouldn't normally do this. Like, this is very worst practices of having like a bunch of Maya models. Anyway, so
Can you do shading with one JPEG?
yeah, I mean, there's that whole light mapping conversation too, which is cool, which is that you burn the shadows into objects, so you don't have to do with the lighting and the rendering and the shadows. I'm just starting to get there. Like, the colors for this were really bad last time I came, and I'm finally a little bit okay with how it looks now. All right, so let me play the game. As Simon said, don't look at that. Okay, so don't look at the safe. The safe is not revealed, but I'll explain.
It's supposed to be not revealed. It's just the thing I built to have it not be revealed is not working.
All right, you ready? So you guys ready for the big? This is the big like demo. This is like the woo! Oh my god part. All right, ready? So let me go a little closer. And you click on the machine, and a drink comes out. Woo! And then you click. Now, okay. So with storytelling, you have your beginning, you have something you're trying to accomplish, and then there's obstacles, and then you overcome the obstacles and the story concludes. That's the formula of storytelling. So right now there's no obstacles. You simply click on all these buttons, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen. But as the game gets built, there's going to be obstacles that come in the way from pressing this button the number of times that I'm about to press it. So you click the drink, and you can see 2 little wedges have been left behind. Those are your charms. Like, at this point in the game, you don't really know what's happening or why you're doing this. You click the button again, because there's really absolutely no other options in the game right now. The only thing you can do in this room is click this button and ultimately watch some performance art when I get the rat built. All right, so remember that rat I showed you? That my rat? Yeah, the performance art rat. All right, now 2 more wedges. Then get the green one. So now you've got red, yellow, green. And you got blue. Oops. And so at this point in the game, so much stuff is going wrong and so much stuff is distracting you. There's a sign that's going to appear around now that says, like, do you give up? Do you want out? And it encourages you to give up on the game at this point because you feel like you're going nowhere. But that's not built yet. Okay, now you've got the red and yellow ones. And now you've got the final blue and green. And now you've got all of them. And then so sorry, if I click it, does it become a necklace yet?
Yes, the necklace will appear. No, I have to click the button.
Okay. Then, so notice how each of these is a third of a sphere. So I've got 3/3 of a blue sphere, and then it became that. So that is the necklace.
Go up and just really try to check the flyer where how many.
So see, so that's the necklace. What do you think? What do you think?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
the thing, oh, wait.
So it's, and that's going to be on the table. So in the version 2.0,
Oh,
where
you need help pick up the necklace?
yeah. So in version 2.0, Sammy, I'll let you take the control. So in version 2.0, I've got to get animation. And one animation I really want to get is I want those 3 wedges of each color to rise up from the table, snap together into spheres, and then have the necklace fade in.
Mom wants to do a natural animation software. I just want to do a script.
Yeah, well, next time we meet, we're going to talk about, like,
Anyway, so
what's the way to do it.
and the rest of it is you go and pick up the necklace and then it attaches itself to you. And then you go and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to step on this tile, which would then make the panel slide out, and then you put it in. But I don't have that, so you just put it in immediately.
See, isn't that cute?
And that's in the safe.
And that's the safe. So what happened in the story, and some of this, there's some directions that give you a sense of it, but so you have the drinks give you the wedges become the necklace, and the necklace becomes the key. And the key goes into the safe, and then when you step on, what the gameplay will be is when you step on the rug, you've got the necklace. So, and that's got to be a point. So on some level you get a point. You've got the necklace in the camera going forward. When you step on the rug, the tile's going to move to the side, revealing the safe.
I figured out how I'm going to do it.
You figured out how you're going to do it?
More or less. I just need to figure. The only thing that's really stopping me from finishing is that Yu's parenting system is weird, so I'm going to have to deal with the issue involving the way the conditions work.
So anyway, so then when it's done, the thing will turn or whatever. So the key will turn the safe. Then that tile that's underneath it will disappear, and it's going to be a void. And you jump into a void, and that's how you get to the underground world. So that's the bar scene. And then that's when Charm's storyline ends. And so Charm gets what's called a ticket to the beach. So you get this.
Scene.
The beach is totally awesome. We built the beach, and now we have to do it again. The beach is like a vaudeville wave pattern, and there's tons of them, and they go up and down. And so it's like this crazy, like vaudeville 1920s ocean. And you ultimately have to cross that. But what happens is there's 4 characters, and as each one finishes their part of the story, they go to the beach, and then the semi-conclusion is that the 4 characters are on the beach, and they're going to morph and become one character. And you realize that you are those 4 avatars. Everybody's the thief, everybody's the alchemist, everybody's the gardener, and everybody's Charm. So, but at some point in the game, you start to get pitted against each other, and you work against your best interests. Like you steal your own crops. But anyway, so Simon, do you want to go a little bit behind the scenes and talk about some of the code?
Okay, so what do you guys want to know about?
Well, just click on like the drinks itself and how they come out of the table.
Scripting. So what do you guys want to know? Let's just do the
Well, just open it. Let's take a look at one.
No, I don't want to use Visual Studio. I don't know how to do this.
Is Mono Develop opening?
Yes. These things always take a
I know.
while.
It's slow.
Okay, so essentially the way that this works is that there are, hold on, let me just check. So basically the way that works is that you are the player, and when you click on this button, it triggers something called the drink order script, which basically, when it's clicked, this is basically a whole thing that connects to another script that I made, which is basically the whole thing. But basically, when you click this, when it detects it's being clicked, then it will basically go to the drink script that's attached to. It will basically go up to a drink script and tell it to activate, and then it'll tell it to rise up toward the table, and then normally this would be 1, but Mom wanted all drinks to be a different color, so I added in a script called Drink Handler to alter the drinks that this refers to every time you drink something. So then once you click it, assuming that you haven't drunk all the drinks you can, Oh, that's fun. Don't worry, I play Dwarf Fortress. I'm used to this.
So you say there's a second script to change the color?
Yes, there is. It's the way the models work in the. So basically, the mom did something to import the models that causes them to import in a really weird way, so I can't
Yeah,
change
there's
the
some-
textures of the models.
Yeah, and I can show a little bit of the way I do it, and if anybody sees this or figures something out, I'm sure there's a better way. Like I said, even when I did those textures for the books, I really struggled to get those JPEGs on there. And then these, every time I import a model from Maya, the texture never attaches correctly, and I always have to reattach it. So like those images on the mirror, I import the mirror, it doesn't work, I find the JPEG, drag it in again, and then it sticks. So I've looked a lot. I've been sitting there on like lynda.com trying to figure out what I'm doing when I set my stuff up that's not working. I know it's me because I've done like lynda.com stuff, and that stuff always imports exactly as it should. So I know it's a user error thing. Do we need to uninstall Studio?
No, it's fine. It's all fine. I just opened like 7 files at once.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now every single script is loaded properly. You can click Handler, which is technically an unused script that was going to be used because it's complicated. But basically, Unity is really weird about the thing was getting really weird about the thing I was trying to do, so I had to compromise it on it somewhat, more or less.
What was weird about it?
Okay, so
Taking the events?
do you guys code a lot?
Mhm.
Oh. So basically, there are these things. So it's kind of difficult to describe. But basically, I want to have the script work with every object, but but the thing I was going to do to let that happen was something that Unity wasn't very big on. So it wasn't so the parameters weren't appearing in the interface properly. So I had to just split them into several different files. Essentially, one for each script I wanted to attach it. I wanted to work with.
So instead of having one script, you had to split that up.
Yeah, so it's a copy of this script for every single file, for every single other script I want this to work with, essentially. I should probably add in a README for how to copy this at some point. You know, it's basically just a few finer places, more or less. But anyway, so, where was I? Oh yeah, so when you click, so basically when you click on the, so the drink handler, so the drink order script brings out the drink script, and then the drink handler script will go and change the drink that's active, because the way it's imported means I have to go to an entirely new game object because there is no way to change the model or the texture. So then the drink activates, which causes its state to go to 0 or gliding out. At which point it will slowly go At which point it'll slowly go forward.
So, Si, when you do the math that lerping stuff,
Mhm.
when we argue about like animation versus doing it in Unity, is that what you want to do in Unity and not
Yeah,
using
basically just have it be a bunch of stuff that all lurks together into one big thing. That way, I think that the main advantage of that is that one, we don't have to deal with Maya,
Mhm.
and two, that way if we decide to say change positions, then rather than having to redo the entire animation, we can just have it slightly change the way it lurks.
So there's 3 basic options with simple animations. One is that you do it in Maya and you import the animation into Unity. The second is that you do the lerping code and stuff that Simon does, Or the third is that there's an animation tool in Unity.
I think that if you want to import the animation tool in Unity runs off of Maya, and it runs off import animations from Maya, and the Maya animations that you import have to be run in the animated tool.
Right, you still have to do some of that.
So,
and then,
so 1 and 3 are actually the same option, from what I can tell.
I think you can have Maya do some of the heavy lifting.
Well, as in Maya is for actually creating the animation, and the animation toolkit in Unity is for determining when you should play the animation.
Right. And like the state machine and stuff like that. But that stuff gets very complicated, and that's why we're just not going to do any animation.
If you
in
want,
this
I can
one.
show you I can show you an official Unity tutorial on how to use it.
Well, anyway, so we could do that next unless anybody has something they want to do. But what do you guys think? Any questions? What do you think of this?
This is in C#?
Yep, it's basically Java.
What is it?
It's in C#, which is essentially Java.
So, I mean, the question is, with the code being like this and just knowing that it's going to get better and Simon gets older every year, you know, like, would these snippets be useful to anybody, or would it just be like, this is so, you know, kludged together, I would just write it myself? I don't know. I just think that maybe having something to tinker around with might be, you know. And then the assets are the assets. So, and there's lots of them. There's 8 basic scenes. You know, there's a weird distillery, there's a weird garden, there's a weird red room with a picture on the wall. You know, there's just all these weird little objects to play around with. So, but it's like I said, it's the basics of the point and click, and it changes, something else appears, you teleport, or you get a point. And that kind of mechanic. And point and click adventure games, the promise is that they can be so simple because it's just those 4 things. Like when you're doing a first person shooter, there's so much going on. You know, and those things are, you know, very difficult to render, and you have to really work at how much you're asking the processor to do, whereas this is all static and low poly models, and there's very little stuff in every room, and the rooms are very small.
I think it's always good to see examples, so that the fact that you have something done and working.
Yeah.
Do you have?
In the main Unity, there's something called the potion. Is that the animator?
That's the name of the game.
Oh, sorry, I missed
Yeah.
your name of your game. I'm sorry.
That's fine, yeah, no.
The
and-
animator is actually here we go. The animator is this wonderful thing. You can tell it's amazing because it has literally nothing you can add at this point.
Because you're not using the
Yeah,
animator?
because there's nothing because nothing connects to the animated stuff yet. But I've seen a tutorial on it.
Do you want to? You can flip. Just if you Google the Unity adventure story thing, Simon and I were debating and talking about how to put animation into this thing, and Simon just said, "Look at this tutorial," and he went to the spot he's about to show you, and we just started laughing because it is the most convoluted, confusing thing. And I think my quote of the night was, "I just want the fucking coin to spin. I just want. This is not like, you know, this should not be as complicated as we just want." Like I said, 3 little spheres to.
So it was something like you open up the.
You can do my volume if you want.
To make sure that when we set the speed, we're accurately reflecting how fast these animations actually play. So for example, the idle blender, that's not going to move the character at all, so that's going to have a threshold of 0. The walking animation, that's going to be a little
able
bit
to change
faster,
the
so it's
audio
going to have a
output.
slightly higher speed threshold, and the run is going to be faster still, so that's going to be at the top threshold.
And when they first come in, Unity doesn't know
But
anything about
really,
these
there's nothing
particular
in this
animations. So we put
specifically
in
to
3
see it if we
animations,
want
it's
to watch
divided
this
them
thing. It's
evenly,
just that it
it's
is
made
just
the
so
thresholds
complicated.
0.
So instead of speed happens, now
Oh, look.
So what we're going to do here is we're
Thresholds.
going to click on that drop down and select speed. Now it's important to note, this is not something that's an option, it's something
what?
that happens once.
What setting?
If you
is
change
that?
any of the
Complete
value,
threshold. I don't know what it does. I watched this, when I first watched this tutorial. I essentially just sort of let the entire information flow through my head.
Yeah. So yeah, some things are just, you know, disappointingly difficult. I was joking that I saw someone on an online job site, and the person, as their job description, said they can import things into Unity from Maya. You know, because it is something that throws a lot of people off. I have this on the screen for a purpose. Like, one of my aspirations in Maya is to get better at it, and this was the original. I found this online, but some of this was the concept for the dress that you saw, that low poly version I did. But this is what I wanted, and just was totally overwhelmed with trying to make something like that. Like, I just couldn't get the bustle, and I couldn't, you know. So that's where I'm at with modeling.
It's a lot of different stuff to tackle.
It is. I mean, that's why, like, when you're talking about a first-person shooter and stuff like that, it's just these.
Oh, keep in mind that was for all that stuff with creating the animator, dragging a bunch of parameters, messing around with settings for a while, was just to get the player, was just to animate the player walking around.
And then one thing that, if we ever want to talk about, that I mentioned on the Google group was Mechanin. Mechanin is the thing that is it's a Maya piece that works well with Unity, and they sort of have this cooperation with the companies that Mechanin was trying to make it easier to connect a skeleton to a figure. So if I have my little figure, essentially it would give me sort of a basic human biped skeleton, and I would hook the elbow to the elbow and the wrist to the wrist, and then the algorithm would take over the rest of it and say, like, well, an elbow bends this way and not the opposite way. So it has these very human parameters, so you don't have to build that all yourself. So you can just sort of stick a skeleton into your figure and say, make it run, and it would basically run. The character would run. And so, like, when you look at the opening scene with the mirror, at some point there's going to be a first-person camera. You're going to go up to this mirror, and you're going to lean into the mirror, and you're going to see yourself as a stick figure. You're going to drink the fruit and try again, look in the mirror, and now you're different. Now you're the fleshed out version of it. But that's the level 2. So, all right, well, that's the demo. What do you think?
It's coming along. Are you gonna do your own music too?
Yeah.
Actually,
No,
what is our plans for music?
But well, it's sound. It's not music as much as it's sound effects, like
Since
the-
I talked about it.
well, who knows? I'm still me, and all this stuff is just, as you guys can see, it's so much work. I do have the sound concept for the beach and the ocean. I found these giant, this audio of giant aluminum tubes clanging together. It's like bang, 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 and it's like I want to have like weird like tones and the things clanging together, and you know, it'll more whooshing and kind of ambient noises. But yeah, that's the whole part of that. But the more immediate stuff is the lighting and the shading. Like when you're in the bar scene and you're trying to hit that drink button, and I said there's obstacles that show up. One of the obstacles is that this fog rolls in with every drink, and it gets harder and harder to find the button, and it gets harder and harder to find the drink. And then there's the storyline with the performance art rat that you're supposed to be staring at, and then at one point there's a way that you can get robbed.
Until you figure out how to get the rest of the bar working.
Right, so it's step by step. So, but the bar scene we kind of tackle because it's the most complicated scene in the game. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna hit the record.